XII 12 News at 6 starts right now.
And 12 investigates tonight. Detention center officer vacancies at the Forsyth County Detention Center are increasing.
As of November 21st, a couple of weeks ago, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office reported 79 vacancies at the detention center. 9 days later, 4 more detention officers have left the jail, and the Sheriff's Office confirms 2 resignations are pending, bringing total vacancies now to 83.
The increase in vacancies comes after the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office announced the implementation of rotating shifts for the detention center staff beginning January 7th of next year. 12 investigates learned of the rotating shifts after an initial report looking into the claims of poor leadership and low morale at the detention center. You can find that full report right now on WXII12.com.
Happening now, Asheboro police say suspects led law enforcement on a chase across 2 Triad counties earlier today.
WXII 12's Maria DeBone joins us live at the Asheboro Police Department tonight. Maria, how did this all start?
Well, Asheboro police was patrolling the northern area around 3 this morning due to there being several car break-ins in that area over the past few weeks. And an officer saw similar behavior to that at the Summers Run apartments and decided to investigate there. And the officer noticed someone driving out of the apartment complex and started following them. That vehicle started speeding, so the officer attempted to pull them over. The vehicle didn't stop, so officers chased them for 12 miles into Guilford County. Officers ended the pursuit, but shortly after, the Guilford County Sheriff's Office notified them, saying they responded to a crash involving a vehicle they believed was the suspect vehicle officers had tried to stop in Asheboro. This was at I-85 South near the 122C exit. The State Highway Patrol said the vehicle caught fire and was burned when they arrived. Now, the State Highway Patrol has confirmed the vehicle was involved in the chase and said that no one was in the vehicle when troopers arrived, and Asheboro police said the tags on that vehicle was reported stolen to the Burlington Police Department a few days ago, and Asheboro police said they're investigating that and looking into several tips when it comes to suspects. Live in Asheboro tonight, Maria DeBone, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Maria. New at 6, a Hudson man is accused of driving drunk when he hit and killed a man in Wilkes County. This happened last night on Highway 268 near Boomer Road. Highway Patrol tells us 38-year-old Ronnie Honeycutt hit 31-year-old Charlie Pike on his moped. Pike did die at the scene. Honeycutt was not hurt. Honeycutt was arrested and charged with driving while impaired. Additional charges are pending. And we're still working to find out if anyone was hurt in a crash on North Point Boulevard earlier today. This happened near Bethabara Road. Forsyth County Emergency Services tells us the call came in before 11 this morning. And as you can see by the video, several vehicles were involved and a minivan went down an embankment here. We have reached out to Winston-Salem police but have not heard back. Once we get that information, though, we'll be sure to pass it along.
Ramseur police are looking for more information after a man was found seriously hurt 9 days ago. Officers found that victim at about 6 o'clock this morning at the intersection of Highway 64 and Liberty Street. Investigators are asking anyone who was in that area and saw anything to call Ramseur police at 336-824-8663. A reward may be considered if information ends up leading to an arrest. A man is in custody tonight in a deadly wrong-way crash in Alamance County. Rubicel Hernandez was released from the hospital Tuesday. He was then immediately arrested and charged with second-degree murder, DWI, and careless and reckless driving. He's accused of hitting 24-year-old Keir Witherspoon head-on on I-40 in Graham. This happened a week and a half ago. Witherspoon was from Durham.
In Commitment 2022, a group of Republicans upset over procedures used to shut down voting machines in Forsyth County on election night are taking its election protest to the State Board of Elections in Raleigh. Protest claims on election night precinct officials in Forsyth County could not close tabulators when voting ended unless they provided an override password. The machines would not provide voting numbers without it, and the password was eventually provided, but there is concern the tabulators were vulnerable during the time precinct officials were trying to figure out what to do. The Forsyth County Board of Elections voted earlier this month to dismiss the protest and certify those election results. It's unclear how soon the state board might meet to rule on it.
More than half of North Carolinians disapprove of the job President Biden is doing. That's according to a new poll from High Point University, which was taken just after the election. 51% disapprove of the current president. 32% approve. 17% surveyed were not sure. 68% of those who participated said they believe the country is on the wrong track. 21% think we are headed in the right direction. As for Governor Roy Cooper, 48% approve of the job he's doing, while 28% disapprove.
The rain and clouds are clearing out after a soggy day across the area, at least this morning. But this is a live look over Winston-Salem this evening, where it looks like the rain has cleared out. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope. What can we expect tonight, Lainey?
Oh, we do have clearing skies, Lindsay. We're also going to have the winds picking up and the air turning much cooler. We've actually got a wind advisory that is out for Patrick, Carroll, and Grayson counties in our Virginia mountains. We've got winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, but gusts could reach 45 miles an hour. That's between now and about 10 o'clock. This could down some tree limbs, could lead to at least a few power outages. So make sure you take the time to secure those loose objects now. Sustained winds right now are 15 to 20 miles an hour in the mountains. We've had some gusts anywhere between 20 and 35 miles an hour so far. Of course, that cold air is being pushed in with those winds. 38 right now in Sparta, 50 in Pilot Mountain. Our temperatures are in the low to mid 50s across the Triad. But as that front continues to move east, the numbers will continue to fall. So we're going to be in the 30s and 40s for the late evening forecast around 8, 9 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, below freezing. So we're down to 30 in the Triad and temperatures in the low 20s in the mountains, with wind chill values in the teens and 20s for early Thursday.
All right, Lainey, thank you. All the rain overnight delayed the city from converting parts of 1st and 2nd Streets in downtown Winston-Salem into two-way traffic streets. The changeover will now take place this evening. Message boards will warn drivers about the traffic switch until permanent signs are installed. This is part of a nearly $3 million makeover passed by voters as part of a 2018 bond referendum. The conversion should slow traffic, make the area more pedestrian friendly, and improve traffic flow in and out of downtown Winston.
For 7 years, Salem Music was a place for the people of Winston-Salem and beyond to learn and explore all things music. But now the store is closing. WXI 12's Joshua Davis caught up with the owner about what the last 7 years were like and what he's going to miss the most.
The owner of Salem Music said it was a place for the community to have a good time and to have the opportunity to experience something special.
Walking into Salem Music, you immediately notice the warm, welcoming atmosphere. The walls decorated with music legends and instruments, and it was all designed by Brent Bristow, the owner. The design meant to encourage growing musicians.
You know, some take to it, some don't, but the ones that do take to it, their parents are beaming, the kids are beaming, they want to come back, they want to record, they want to make a record someday.
Bristow says Salem Music is closing because the owner of the building is selling, but Bristow is grateful for the time the store was open. He says he appreciates the memories made and the people he met.
Whatever I thought I knew about the power of music to change lives and to enrich lives, I didn't know anything until this particular part of my life and this vision of what this place could be.
And he says through the years, the spirit of music was present in every person who came through his door.
I'm really proud of it and really sad to see it go. It's kind of like a grieving reality, the saying goodbye to all those memories, all those people.
Bristow says 7 years is plenty, but now it's time to move on. To the community, he says thank you for the love and kindness.
This is the cherry on top of 7 years of effort, love, and blood, sweat, and tears.
Bristow is moving to Florida, but he still plans to be the old guy entertaining people with a guitar. In Winston-Salem, Joshua Davis, WXII 12 News.
Guilford County Schools using federal funds now to provide mental health support to all teachers and staff through a partnership with eTherapy. The online and on-demand support helps staff identify where they need assistance and provides them with tools and strategies to meet those needs. Services are confidential, provide flexible appointments, and are free for the remainder of the school year. And while the holiday season is a merry, bright, and joyous time for many, for others it can be one of the most difficult times of the year. I caught up with an expert today to talk about how holiday season stressors can really impact mental health.
We know that about 2/3 of individuals who live with depression, live with anxiety, do tend to feel much more increased stressors during the holidays.
The time of year to deck the halls is here, but for some, this time of year also comes with something called seasonal affective disorder, a type of depressive mood disorder related to the seasonal variations of light.
The days are, now getting shorter, the nights are much longer.
Executive Director of the Forsyth County Mental Health Association, Andy Hagler, says that, coupled with holiday stressors, can really dim the season that is supposed to be so merry and bright.
The effects of depression, the loneliness, the isolation, the feelings of sadness, feelings of hopelessness, irritability, anger, those are symptoms of depression. That's there, and that becomes more intense.
He says for people suffering this season, self-care is imperative, and ways to cope can include things like taking walks, stargazing, and setting aside alone time to gather thoughts and de-stress.
Allow yourself to feel down. The holidays are also a time to reflect and to feel and to think. So if you're having a moment or time or whatever that you're not at your best or feeling down or whatever, that's okay. These are human emotions.
He says to be mindful of healthy habits and watch things like alcohol and caffeine intake, but most importantly, try to surround yourself with those who support you.
The main thing is really focus that this is a season and it is a time to be with those that support and love you. So if things are just a little less than perfect, then
Hagler says his office does see an uptick in calls and support groups this time of year. He says there are a wide range of services they provide to help people who may be in need this holiday season. And a 12